We were planning our wedding. Guest list was finalized. Then I accidentally received the email he meant to send to his ex-girlfriend. The subject line, "I can't marry her. It's always been you." That was the moment I started planning my exit, not our wedding. Now she's gone, I'm gone, and he's the only one left behind. I was in the middle of choosing between two shades of ivory napkins when my phone buzzed with a new email. Subject line, "I can't marry her. It's always been you." I thought it was spam. I almost deleted it. Then I saw the sender, Ethan M., my fiancé. My hands went cold before I even opened it. But I did. Because of course I did. The body of the email? A heartfelt, full-page confession of undying love, written like a goddamn poem, to someone else. Her name was Claire. The same Claire who was his old college friend, the one he insisted was like a sister. He told her he was making a mistake by marrying me, that he got swept up in the comfort, but she was the person he couldn't stop thinking about. There were phrases I'll never forget, burned into my brain like acid. Every time I picture the wedding, I see your face instead of hers. It's not fair to Jenna. She deserves someone who's sure. I still wear the bracelet you gave me. I felt like I was having an out-of-body experience. The room spun, my vision blurred, and then I saw the to from CC line. Claire was the main recipient, but somehow some beautifully tragic, universe-ripping mistake he had CC'd me, his bride-to-be. I didn't even realize I'd sunk to the floor until my mom walked into the room, still holding fabric samples, and asked if I was okay. I handed her the phone without saying a word. That moment, that single moment of watching her read it, her face morphing from confusion to horror, was the real start of everything unraveling. Because the email wasn't the end. It was just the beginning. The morning after the email from hell, I woke up on my childhood twin bed, in my mom's guest room, still in my rehearsal dinner dress. The tulle was wrinkled. My mascara had glued my lashes together, and my ring finger still had the weight of the engagement ring I hadn't yet taken off. I don't know what possessed me to check my phone. Maybe I hoped it was all some insane fever dream. But nope. Ethan had sent 6 texts, all around 2 a.m. Jenna, please call me. I didn't mean for you to see that. It's not what you think. Can we talk? Please don't talk to Claire before we talk. I made a mistake. A huge one. Oh, now it was a mistake? Which part, the email or the woman he wrote it to? By 8:14 a.m., my phone rang. I let it buzz out. Then it rang again. On the third call, my mom came into the room, holding a mug of coffee and asked, "Want me to answer and tell him you died?" Honestly, tempting. But I needed answers, so I picked up. "Jenna." I didn't let him finish. "Meet me at my mom's porch in 30 minutes. No excuses." When he arrived, he had that same slightly wrinkled button-up from the night before. His hair was a mess. His eyes were bloodshot. But I didn't feel sorry for him. Not even a little. He opened with, "It wasn't supposed to go to you." I laughed. That's your opening line? Not "I'm sorry"? Not "I messed up"? Just confirmation that he didn't mean to let me find out? Then came the lie. The big, pathetic, desperate lie. "It was closure," he said. "I never sent it. It was just something I wrote to get it off my chest, like journaling." I held up my phone, where his email had that bright, undeniable sent timestamp. Then why was I CC'd? He froze, like someone who forgot their own alibi. And that's when the real unraveling started. Because he didn't deny he wrote it for Claire. He didn't deny he still had feelings for her. He just tried to rebrand it. It's just, we have history. I needed to say goodbye before fully committing to you. By telling her it's always been her. Silence. I yanked off the engagement ring and dropped it into his coffee mug. It clinked louder than it should have. His jaw tightened. Then he said something that still makes my blood boil. "Can we not overreact? We've spent 2 years planning this wedding." I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood up and said, "Yeah, and you just spent one night blowing it all up." As I turned to walk back inside, he said one last thing, one that chilled me straight to my core. "I'm not the only one keeping secrets, Jenna." Maybe ask yourself why Claire wanted this email in the first place. That stopped me cold. What did he mean? Because as far as I knew, Claire had moved out of state years ago. She was supposed to be an ex, a non-factor, someone who barely liked my Instagram posts. So why did he sound like I was the one who should be worried? I didn't want to believe it, but I couldn't ignore it. That final line Ethan dropped, it hit like a whisper in a dark room. Creepy, insinuating, intentional. Maybe ask yourself why Claire wanted this email in the first place. It wasn't just a deflection, it was a warning. So I did what any woman with a broken heart and high-speed internet would do. I stalked. Claire's Instagram was private, of course, has been ever since college. But her Twitter? Wide open. And suddenly, I saw her name differently. Not the girl who almost dated Ethan once. Not the casual friend I'd met, maybe twice at alumni events. She'd been lurking this whole time. Just quietly. Her recent tweets weren't direct, but they weren't exactly subtle either. March 12th. Some people settle for good enough. Some of us wait for what we actually deserve. April 4th. Closure doesn't always come in silence. Sometimes it comes in the form of truth bombs. And 2 nights ago, same night, Ethan sent that email, Sometimes the universe delivers your second chance in the most unexpected way. I felt sick, because what if she wanted me to see it? What if they planned this, fueled by adrenaline and caffeine? I pulled out my old college laptop, the one I hadn't touched since we moved in together, and dug into the past. I searched my emails, my old Facebook messages. I even opened my dusty Google Photos archive, and that's when I saw it. A photo from 3 years ago, Ethan and I, newly official, at a friend's wedding, and right behind us, Claire, staring dead at the camera. I never noticed her before, but now her expression looked sour, jealous, almost. The caption I'd written at the time? Love feels easy when it's with the right person. She'd liked it, the day it was posted. I checked the comments. Hers said, "You two look great," but the timestamp? She posted it at 3:27 a.m., 3 days after the wedding. After I'd shared another post of Ethan and me in bed, eating pizza, giggling about our song coming on the radio, I kept scrolling down a rabbit hole of digital footprints I never knew existed. And then I found an email I'd long forgotten, a thread from back when Ethan and I first started dating. Claire had replied to a group update I'd sent about grad school. Her reply? "Congrats, Jenna. So happy for you. Just surprised to hear about you and Ethan. Didn't know he was seeing anyone again. Hope that works out." That was the moment. The subtle shade. The tiny crack that I'd never questioned. I closed the laptop and stared at the wall. It wasn't just Ethan I needed to worry about. Claire had been playing the long game. And the worst part? I think she already won. The problem with betrayal is that it doesn't just hurt, it infects. It makes you question everything. What was real? What was fake? Who knew what? And when? So yeah, I decided to confront Claire. Not with drama, not with yelling, but with something way scarier. Calm curiosity. I still had her number saved, buried in my contacts. From that time she helped plan Ethan's surprise birthday party 2 years ago. He told me she was just helping with logistics. Now I wondered if the only surprise that night was me. I texted her. Me. "Hey Claire, it's Jenna. Mind if we talk? I think it's time we cleared a few things up." She replied in 2 minutes. Claire, "Sure. I was wondering when you'd reach out." That sentence alone gave me full body chills. Not why, not what's going on, just a knowing nod, like this moment was always coming. We met at a coffee shop near campus neutral territory. I wore sunglasses, even though it was cloudy. She showed up looking like Pinterest personified. White button down. Effortless waves. That kind of girl who claims she just threw this on but probably took 40 minutes doing so. "Hey," she said, voice light, like we were old friends catching up, not two women in the middle of a romantic wreckage. I got right to it. "Why did Ethan send you that email?" She sipped her overpriced latte and gave a tiny shrug. "Because I asked him to be honest, for once." Honest, Claire leaned back. "I told him I couldn't keep wondering what if forever, that if he had any feelings left for me, I deserved to know." "You deserve to know," I repeated, barely keeping my voice level. "You mean while he was engaged to someone else?" She didn't flinch. "I didn't force him to write that, Jenna. That came from him. Maybe you're just upset because now you know how he really feels." It was like being punched with words instead of fists. I tried to breathe, to steady myself. "So what, you two just reconnected and he fell back in love with you?" Claire laughed, not cruelly, but smug. "We never disconnected." And that's when the dam broke. She admitted it. They'd been in touch for over a year. Not physically, she claimed, but emotionally? Constantly. Texts, calls, checking in. Little confessions when he and I would fight. And the worst part? Ethan told her about our wedding planning. The venues, the dress I chose, the favors I made by hand. "Do you know what he told me?" Claire added, eyes gleaming like this was her final card to play. "That marrying you felt like defaulting. Like watching the clock run out and just saying yes to whoever's there." I didn't respond. I couldn't. Every part of me screamed leave. But I stayed. I needed one more answer. "Why now?" I whispered. "Why send the email now? With the wedding weeks away?" She looked at me like it was obvious. "Because he told me he was going to call it off. And I deserved to see it in writing." That's when it clicked. She didn't want me to find the email by accident. She wanted me to find it on purpose. Because what Ethan didn't know, but Claire definitely did, I work in marketing. I taught him how to CC and BCC. That email wasn't a slip-up. It was a setup. I walked out of that coffee shop with my heart in my throat and my spine straight as a ruler. Claire thought she broke me. She wanted to break me. But something inside me snapped the moment I realized the truth. They planned this together. They needed me to walk away, quietly, shamefully, with a crumbled wedding dress and a canceled deposit. They wanted to be the ones in control of the story. And that's when I decided, they can have the story. I'll just rewrite the ending. That night, I posted the most normal photo I could find of Ethan and me, a shot from our engagement shoot last fall. All soft golden light and fake laughter. I captioned it, 2 weeks until forever. So grateful. I could practically hear Claire's rage through the internet. And Ethan? He texted me 3 minutes later. Does this mean you've forgiven me? Can we talk? I don't deserve you. No, he didn't. But that wasn't the point. Because while he was busy spinning damage control, I was busy screenshotting every single tough thing. The emails, the texts, Claire's innocent DMs from the past year, Venmo transactions, flight records I dug up from our shared account. Turns out Ethan had booked a last-minute trip to Claire City just 3 months ago. Told me it was for a work retreat. I even called his office to confirm. Spoiler alert, no such retreat. The next few days were a blur of pretending I was still the girl planning a wedding, coordinating with vendors, confirming RSVPs, making Pinterest boards public again. Meanwhile, I was also moving all my savings to an account he didn't know existed, scheduling a call with a lawyer. My cousin recommended talking to my boss about a potential job transfer across the country, and drafting the single most savage email of my life. Because here's the thing, I could have canceled the wedding quietly. Cried into my mom's shoulder. Let them win. But something about the way Claire smiled at me so smug, so sure, made me decide otherwise. Let them plan their next steps thinking I'm weak. Let them think I'll bow out gracefully. Let them think I'm still the girl who picked out napkin colors while her fiancé sent love letters to someone else. Because while they're busy toasting to their freedom, I'll be dropping a bomb they'll never recover from. And it starts with the save the date emails I sent out last night to all 147 guests, with a very special update. I waited until 8:03 p.m. Statistically, that's when most people check personal emails after dinner, post-Netflix scroll, just before the existential dread kicks in. That's when I sent the message. Subject line, change of plans to every single wedding guest, family, friends, Ethan's coworkers, his boss, our college roommate who always overshares on Facebook, my ex who I probably should have married, everyone. And the body of the email? Short, simple, devastating. Hi everyone. I wanted to personally thank you for the love, excitement, and support you've shown Ethan and me during our engagement. Planning this wedding has been an emotional roller coaster, and I've come to a decision. There won't be a wedding. Instead, I'll be taking some time to focus on myself, surrounded by people who value honesty, loyalty, and love that doesn't come with an expiration date. As for Ethan, he'll be spending this time reconnecting with Claire, the woman he accidentally included me on an email to, the one he's been emotionally cheating with for over a year. Attached are screenshots for context. Transparency is healing. Wishing you all the clarity you deserve. Jenna. I stared at my laptop screen for a solid minute after hitting send. It felt like jumping off a cliff, but the good kind. The kind you survive. Within 15 minutes, my phone blew up. Texts from my friends. OH. My. God. Are you okay? I mean, you're iconic, but are you okay? I've been waiting for someone to do this since college. I'm proud. Then came the emails. From Ethan's family. His sister replied, honestly, you dodged a bullet. Claire always gave me bad vibes. His mom? She called me, crying, apologizing, saying she had no idea, that she loved me like a daughter. And Ethan? He texted once, just once, you're being cruel. I stared at the message for a long time before replying. Me? Cruel? You sent your fiancé a breakup letter and forgot to take her off the CC. Welcome to consequences. He didn't respond. Claire, however, did. On Instagram. She posted a story with a black screen and white cursive text that said, some people air their dirty laundry when they have nothing left to wear. No name, but everyone knew. I almost responded. Almost, but instead, I did something better. I posted a photo of me on the beach, wind in my hair, a drink in my hand, my left ring finger very bare. Caption, turns out, dodging a bullet looks a lot like freedom. I thought that would be the end. The post went mildly viral. Not full-on TikTok scandal viral, but enough that girls I hadn't spoken to since high school messaged me with you go girl energy and way too many heart emojis. My cousin called me an inspiration, my therapist said I should copyright the email, and my ex from sophomore year randomly sent me a playlist called Songs to Rise from the Ashes too. I laughed more in 2 days than I had in the last 3 months. I booked a solo weekend trip to Santa Barbara. Rented a little cottage with pale yellow curtains and an outdoor bathtub I had no intention of using but took photos of anyway. I drank margaritas with too much lime, read half a romance novel on the porch, and slept like a corpse. I started to feel okay, until Monday morning, when I got the envelope. A thick manila folder stuffed into my mailbox with no return address. No stamp either, so someone had dropped it off personally. Inside was a stack of printed emails, not from me, not from Ethan, but from Claire, sent to someone named Tom. Each one time-stamped and dated, each one a thread, a breadcrumb trail. And at the bottom of the stack was a screen capture of Claire and Ethan, together, on a Zoom call, smiling, leaning close into the screen like teenagers with a secret. The date? 6 months before Ethan proposed. My heart started racing. I flipped through the emails, hands shaking, scanning Claire's words. He's almost there. Just needs a little push. She's been planning the wedding for him, he's just floating. Once she locks him down, I'll be the safe space he runs to. And then, she won't see it coming. The longer he plays along, the more it'll break her when he chooses me. That was dated 3 weeks before the proposal. I sat on my living room floor, surrounded by pages that spelled out my entire relationship in reverse. It was like watching the movie of my engagement, but from the villain's point of view. And that's when I knew. Ethan never made a mistake. He didn't fumble into feelings. He didn't get cold feet. He didn't accidentally send that email. He was groomed into it. Manipulated? Maybe. But also complicit. They didn't just want me to back out of the wedding. They wanted me to be so devastated, I'd disappear. But instead, they gave me the kind of rage that doesn't burn out. After I read the last email, I sat there on my rug, surrounded by a hurricane of printed proof, and felt nothing. Not anger, not heartbreak, precision. I don't know who Tom was, or why he sent me the folder, but I knew what he wanted me to see. Claire had orchestrated everything. Like a director of some messed up indie film where I was cast as the clueless lead. She fed Ethan the lines. She fluffed his ego. She preyed on every fear he'd ever muttered to her during one of their late night "we're just friends" calls. And he let her. He let her rewrite our story while I was out here choosing table linens and playlist transitions. So, fine, let them think they won, because I was done playing defense. I started slow. I called my old college friend Ava. She's a freelance writer with a growing lifestyle blog and an obsession with exposing toxic patterns in modern dating. Her words. I pitched her a story anonymous, for now. I gave her the email thread, redacted names, but left in the dates, the gaslighting, the timeline of manipulation. She ate it up. Can I call it the CC bride? She asked. I laughed for the first time all day, only if I get a cut of the movie deal. Took every gift Ethan had ever given me, bracelet, books, that overpriced essential oil diffuser he said was for my stress, and packed them into a box. I mailed them to Claire. No note, just a return label that read, "Since you love taking what isn't yours." I messaged Ethan's boss. I was polite, respectful, professional. I simply mentioned that I was stepping back from the wedding and that I hoped his upcoming leave request, which he filed to support his wife during the honeymoon, could be canceled. His boss replied, "Wait, wife?" I just sent back a smiling emoji. Let that marinate. And finally, step 4. I sent Claire a text, just one. Me. You really should be more careful who you see. Not everyone wants to see the receipts. She read it, no response. But later that night, her cryptic Instagram quotes disappeared. She went private. Ethan's profile, also scrubbed. Guess trouble in paradise shows up faster when the entire internet knows your relationship began as an emotional crime scene. I ended that week by doing something I hadn't done since this whole mess began. I took myself out to dinner, alone. I wore the black dress Ethan said was a little much for a Thursday. I ordered wine without glancing at the price. I toasted the girl I used to be, and I promised the woman I'm becoming that will never, ever settle again. People don't talk enough about the grief that comes after betrayal. Not the explosive, rage-fueled kind, the quiet grief. The one that sneaks up on you at 2 a.m. when you hear a song you once danced to barefoot in the kitchen. The one that curls into your chest when you wake up on a Saturday morning and instinctively check your phone for his "you up?" texts that don't come anymore. That week, I let myself feel it all. I cried in the shower until my skin wrinkled. I rewatched old videos of us, Ethan holding my hand at the farmer's market, Ethan sneaking a kiss behind the bakery display, Ethan making that ridiculous pancake shaped like a heart and burning it to hell. I found the dress I'd picked for the rehearsal dinner in my closet, still with the tags. I sat on the floor and ran my fingers over the fabric like it might whisper answers back to me. How did I miss it? How did I believe I was the center of his world when I was clearly the background character in my own love story? I even caught myself drafting a text to him. Just a simple, "Did you ever mean it?" But I didn't send it, because deep down, I already knew. The truth is, Ethan did love me, just not enough. Not enough to choose me over his doubts. And as hard as it was to admit, it wasn't Claire that ruined us. It was Ethan's silence, his passivity, his permission. Because love isn't just about grand gestures and Instagram captions. It's about the choice. Every day, even when it's inconvenient, especially when it's hard. He didn't choose me, so I chose me. I deleted our shared photo album, archived our texts, changed his name in my phone to let it go, just in case I ever felt weak enough to look. And for the first time since the email, I let myself breathe. Not just surface level I'm fine breathing, but deep, gut cleansing, lung filling, soul scrubbing breathing. 2 weeks later, just as my life had finally settled back to normal, it came the letter that made my blood run cold. It came in a pale blue envelope. No return address. Just my name, printed in neat cursive, that wasn't familiar but wasn't anonymous, either. It was too careful for that. The kind of handwriting someone uses when they want to be taken seriously. I almost didn't open it. Thought maybe it was another pity note from a distant relative or some random friend of a friend who just had to tell me they always knew something was off about Ethan. Thanks, Susan. You could have said something before he picked out our flatware. But when I opened it, one name jumped out at me. Claire. Hi, Jenna. You don't know me, but I used to. Claire, I'm her ex-roommate. We lived together for 3 years, in Chicago, before I moved back home last fall. I wasn't planning to reach out. I didn't think it was my business. But then I saw the screenshots, the email, and I recognized exactly the version of Claire you were dealing with, because I've been there too. I sat down, hard, my stomach twisted. Claire has a pattern. She finds men who are already attached, especially the ones who are starting to drift. She listens, she sympathizes, she inserts herself slowly. She doesn't take them, she makes them come to her. So when they betray the people they love, it feels like it was their own decision, their idea. She's not messy, she's methodical. There were specifics, names I didn't recognize. One guy who left his girlfriend of 4 years for Claire, then wound up back with the girlfriend 6 months later, therapy, guilt, the whole spiral. Another who lost his job when Claire flirted with his boss's husband and caused a blowout at a company party. And then, but Ethan? That one felt different. She talked about him, like a game she already won. Like the prize wasn't the man, it was proving she could take him from someone like you. She didn't just want him back. She wanted to ruin you. She even said once, Jenna doesn't know who she's playing with. I dropped the letter. My ears were ringing. Not because I didn't believe it. No, I believed every word. But because somewhere, deep down, I think I always knew. This wasn't just about Ethan having cold feet. This was about Claire needing a win. And I had unknowingly played the role she'd written for me. The oblivious, perfect fiancé with her Pinterest boards and RSVP deadlines. She wanted me to fall apart. And I almost did. But now I had confirmation that this wasn't just emotional cheating. This was calculated emotional sabotage. And maybe, just maybe, it wasn't over yet. Because the letter ended with one last line. You should know. Claire's done this before. But she's never had someone fight back. Just be careful. She doesn't like losing. 3 days after the letter, I got the DM. I saw the notification while stirring my coffee at the local cafe, the same one Ethan and I used to come to every Saturday morning, like clockwork. Back when I thought routine meant security instead of stagnation, the message preview was short. Claire, can we talk? I didn't open it right away. I let it sit, let her wonder, let her squirm. By the time I finally clicked, she'd sent another. I know you got the letter. I didn't expect it to come back to you. But if we're going to be adults about this, we should at least talk face to face. Adults? That was rich, coming from someone who turned my engagement into a long con. But I wasn't afraid of her anymore. I replied with one word, tomorrow. We met in the same coffee shop where I saw the message, full circle style. I picked the booth in the corner, the one where you can see everyone walking in and everyone trying to leave without being seen. Claire walked in wearing a cream blazer and gold earrings that screamed, I'm composed. I wondered how long she'd spent practicing her expression in the mirror, smug, but not too smug. Innocent, but knowing. She sat down across from me like we were two professionals in a negotiation. But I wasn't here to negotiate. I assume you want something, I said, stirring my coffee slowly, not offering her a greeting. Her lips twitched. I wanted to explain. No, Claire. You wanted to control the narrative. Explaining is what people do when they care how the other person feels. You're just trying to save face now that people know what you are. That hit. I watched the flicker behind her eyes before she pasted on her mask again. She leaned in, voice soft. Ethan's miserable, you know. He thought you'd take him back. That maybe the wedding could still happen. My stomach turned, but I kept my face blank. And what do you want me to do with that information? I asked. Cry? Run back to him? Thank you for your honesty. Claire looked down at her perfectly manicured nails. I'm saying, I won, but it didn't feel like winning. There it was. The admission. It wasn't love. It was the high, the game, the ruin. But I didn't flinch. I just tilted my head, like I was observing a specimen. You didn't win, Claire, I said, my voice like glass. You settled. For a man who used to sleep beside someone he said he loved, while secretly making backup plans, you're not the grand prize. You're just the soft landing he didn't have to work for. Her face cracked, just a little. A muscle twitched in her jaw. I stood up and grabbed my bag. Oh, I added casually, and you might want to tell Ethan not to bother trying to fix his reputation at work. His little leave of absence story fell apart the moment HR saw the screenshots. His promotion? Gone. Claire blinked. I smiled. Tell me, Claire, still feel like winning? I didn't wait for her to answer. I walked out of that cafe with nothing but my keys, my phone, and the kind of clarity that doesn't come easy but sticks forever.